everyone. I ran the Jack and Jill downhill marathon in the Poconos, Pennsylvania a few weeks ago. It was an inaugural race. So when I registered for the marathon, there was not much information available except for what was on the website. I thought that it would be nice to make a short video on my experience and what I've learned. So I hope for anyone that's thinking about running this race, this video is helpful for you. First things first, bib pickup. You have the option of picking up your bib on site, or you can pick it up on race day for an additional $25. I chose to pick it up the day before just because that's how I mapped out my weekend, that I would be there the day before and I could pick it up. You pick up your bib at the outdoor center. They set up some tents. They have your bib. They do ask you for a photo ID. They give you a beautiful t-shirt. This is the t-shirt that they gave the runners. It's moisture wicking. The design is really beautiful. I really love it. You also get to meet the pacers. The marathon does have pacers, which is really nice. So it's short and quick. It's not a huge expo. It's literally you just grabbing your bib, your t-shirt, and leaving. So that's great. Now, for the actual race day timeline, because this marathon starts all the way up at Whitehaven, you have to get to the finish line to catch the bus. The marathoners catch the bus at 5:15. It's about a 45-50 minute drive. The bus drops you off at the start line. At the start line, there were about 5 porta-johns. So just keep that in mind. If you know you're going to have to use the bathroom, you're going to have to get in line along with the other 300 runners that need to use the bathroom. There was no huge bag drop-off. Literally, your bag drop-off was your bib number on a tag, and then you dropped it off in front of this SUV that would then transport your bag back to the finish line. So it's nice that you were able to do bag drop-off, but the race is so small that everyone literally put their stuff in this SUV. The start line, it's a simple start line. Literally, it's a mat with the sensors. The course, you go past the start line 2 miles, you circle back, come back for another 2 miles. By the time you get back to the start line, you're 4 miles in already. Once you pass the 4 miles, there's a water station. The water stations are every 2-ish miles. Once you pass the water station, you're running through a couple of streets to get back on the trail. You're literally on concrete for like 6 minutes. Once you go through the city streets, you're back on the trail, and you're in the woods. There's a river that's parallel to you running for the entire duration. I thought that was really nice. I'm from New York. I was raised in New York. I work in New York. I hang out in New York. So being out in Pennsylvania on this trail was really nice. It was peaceful. It was clean. The road itself was dirt and packed rocks. So not like loose rocks, but they were packed. They were hard. I did not have a hard time running on the trail. I thought it was pretty great, considering I did not train very much on trail for this marathon. Shade. There was a ton of shade. There were tons and tons of trees. That is one thing I cannot complain about. There was a ton of shade. If I had to guess, the course was 75% shaded. I didn't even wear a hat. I know some people like to wear hats. I personally don't like wearing hats. So it was a beautiful sight. It was a beautiful environment to run in, to be running parallel to the river, to be in this shaded environment. The only thing is that there were no spectators whatsoever. Because the marathon is so small with just, 300 marathoners, if you're not a faster runner, you're kind of in the back of the pack by yourself, which was my case, But I was ready for this. I was prepared. I knew that it was a small race. I knew that it was an inaugural race. And I knew to go into this race open-minded. Because I knew we were going to be in the woods, I charged my iPod. You guys know what that is. It's an iPod. You don't need, Wi-Fi or internet connectivity. You just download your songs onto your electronic device and you're off. And that's what I did. My iPod saved my life because I had no internet connection while on this course. I did not get internet connection until I left the course. So me bringing my iPod was the best thing I could have done for myself. There's only one medical tent. It was at mile 13. That scared me a little bit because I know that I cramp up in marathons, after mile 20. But it was okay. They did have EMTs on bicycles. The only thing is if the EMT leaves and you need someone, you may have trouble finding someone if you're not close to a water station. While the water stations were every 2-ish miles, my only complaint was that the Gatorade and the water was hot. The volunteers were pouring it into the cups, leaving it on the tables. It was a pretty warm day. The Gatorade tasted disgusting. My suggestion to the organization would be maybe to get those Gatorade tanks where people can just refill their own bottles, and at least when they refill their bottles, the fluids are cold instead of fluids that have been sitting in the sun. As far as the course itself, the Poconos course is an 800 net drop with a -1 feel. A lot of people warned me about my quads, cramping up, my quads giving out because of the downhill. But honestly, you don't even feel it. You don't even notice it. If I did not look at my Garmin watch after my marathon and see the decline in elevation, I would not have believed that it was a downhill race. You don't feel it whatsoever. As a matter of fact, after the marathon, my quads did not hurt. The day after the marathon, my quads did not hurt either. My foot did cramp up like around mile 20, but at least my quads didn't. So that just goes to show you that the downhill is not steep. It's not a downhill where it's going to make you feel like trash the next day. It was so subtle, you don't notice it. So me personally, I think that if there are folks out there that need a Boston qualifier, if you are comfortable with running by yourself, if you don't need the spectators for support, if you're okay with running on like a brittle path, a dirt path, I think that this would be a good race for you. Because it's only 300 marathoners, it means you have time, you have space to move. Not like some of these bigger courses, with thousands of people, you can't move because there's a bottleneck somewhere. No. There's only 300 people here. The roads were wide. They were not narrow. People were out. They were just moving. So I do think that this is a really good course for someone that wants to Boston qualify. Around 10 in the morning, I want to say the bugs came out, and they were not nice, these bugs. These little things were attacking me, and I was not prepared for that. I had asked someone at Bib Pickup, what the bug situation was like, and they were like, oh, don't worry about it. The bugs isn't an issue. But for me, it really was. And they were like these big bugs too. So I don't know. I guess if you train, you have to train, running with bug spray on so you don't get attacked by these bugs. So those are kind of like my thoughts about the race. It was beautiful. It was cool in the morning. If you run a 3-hour marathon, you don't have to worry about the heat because you would be done well before 9 a.m. There's plenty of space. There's pacers. The fluids, not great, but it is what it is. The finish line was nice. They had kind of like a balloon arch at the finish line. They do have free photos, which is nice. There's a photographer at the end taking pictures. The Gatorade at the end was cold, so that was a very nice treat. And then they had like some snacks at a table. This is my medal. It's super cute. Not sure why there's these 2 dots here. I kind of thought that maybe something would go on it. But I don't know. I don't know. It's cute. So this is my medal. It was a great race. Would I do it again? Absolutely. I'm I'm having like a little issue with cramps, and I'm trying to figure out why, if I'm doing all this hard training and I'm putting in the miles, I'm putting in the time and the work, I still end up cramping. So I'm not really hitting my goals. But the race itself is an amazing race if this is what you're looking to do. So I hope my video gave you some insight. I hope that if this is something you want to do, now you have a better understanding of the course. If you have questions, you can send me a message. Fun fact, if you volunteer at the Jack and Jill Marathon, the next year they will give you a voucher to run the marathon for free, or at least that's what they offered this year. I don't know. I may do that. I may go and volunteer next year and then run it in 2 years and run it for free. The next marathon is scheduled for Saturday, June 7th of 2025. So I hope this video helps. If you guys need anything or have any comments, let me know. Take care.